What is up, YouTube? Phone Psycho 82 here, coming at you with a deck profile and my Nationals recap video. I just got back from playing there, and I had a really good time. I met up with some friends of mine. I played in the tournament. Didn't do well, but I did better than I expected to do. So, yeah, all in all, I had a good time. Played in a Winamat and won that. And yeah, so let me start by saying I really hate the playmat they give us for registering. It's awful. The cards are beyond irrelevant to the meta, and just stop. Like, couldn't you have given us like Girgia Gear and like Girgias and Hat, because those are probably the two most played decks, even though I think Hat sucks. Yeah. In the end, I decided to play Fire Fists. On the way over, I was thinking I was gonna play my Majesty's Trap Tricks hand deck, and once I got to the hotel, I decided, you know what, Fire Fist is the deck I'm most comfortable with. Fire Fist is a lot more explosive, and Fire Fist can play Soul Charge really well. So this is the build I decided to play. I went 3-3, then I dropped and played in the Winamat, and here's the deck. So we'll start with the main deck. I played 3 Leopards, just the best card. I really think Leopards are a really strong card for this that get tanky. Like, even opening him plus Bear is really good, because you'll get him sacked for Tensu, and Tensu will summon the Bear, and you have a 1700 Bear, or you have a 1600 Bear, and they don't have a monster anymore. And then you get the 2 normal summons every turn. So I do think Leopard's just a really good card. I may even play him if I was playing 4X's, just because of the utility he gives you. Yeah, so that's Leopard. I played 2 Chicken. I was talking to Azad DM before the event. He was saying, like, play 2 or 3, but if you're playing 2, side deck the 3rd for when you're going first. I thought this was a good idea, however, I only own 2 Rooster, so I just decided to go with this. And then 1 Spirit. Spirit's an amazing card. Like, it just creates, like, so much combos on its own. Like, this is a 1 card plus, you go neutral summoning Horse Prince, plus 1 for Rooster, plus 2 for what Rooster adds. Yeah, he's a 1 card plus 2. So, Spirit is a very strong card. And yeah, that's really our, like, 3-axis engine. A lot of people will call my build 3.5. However, I'm really just focusing on the level 3s in it. The 4s just help grind games and destruction effects. So yeah, that's our level 3s. For level 4s, 3 Bear. Bear's really good. Removal, search, just kind of grind. Just being able to go Bear, pop something, add Tanky, add Bear, next turn summon Bear, pop, attack, Tanky, add Bear, is really strong, and it's a really good stun engine. I decided to play 1 Gorilla. I know some people have been cutting this because artifacts are pretty prevalent in the meta, and you don't want to hit them, but I do feel it's good in a lot of matchups. And then I played the 1 Wolf Bark. It's limited, but I don't really care. I never played more than 1 anyway. This deck just doesn't need more than 1. If you feel the need to use it more than once, you can always Lion Emperor it back. So, that's just really good. 5 cards. I played 11 monsters. I felt the ratios were pretty good. Spells, 3 Tanky. Yeah, if you're playing less than 3 Tanky in any build of Fire Fist, I really do not know what to tell you other than stop playing the deck. You clearly don't understand it. And yeah. 3 Tensu. A lot of people say 3 is cloggy, but like, you do the math. Like, you should only open multiples 1 in every 20 games. And when you do, it's not even that horrible unless you open like no other monsters. It also just really helps first turn gain your combos off, because like this plus chicken equals your combo, this plus leopard equals your combo. So yeah. 2 Gyoku, lock down back rows, help your plays go through. I consider it like searchable back row removal, and if you can remove the back row in another way later, it's bear gorilla fodder. I played 8 formations, felt they worked pretty well. Other spells, I decided on 3 Lance, just because you really want your plays to go through. Whenever I drew this card, it was really good. I used it to protect my monsters a lot. I used it with Bear a lot to just get a tanky to keep my searches going. Like, my opponent would have something good out, and I'd just be like, you know what, no, Lance, well, Bear, attack, damage step, Lance, and then, there was one time my opponent had Daigusto Emerald out, summon Bear, attack, Lance the Emerald, get a Tanky had, I think, Wolf Bark, Bear popped his set armor, and that basically won me the game right there. It was also really clutch for some Infernities, and I definitely liked it at 3. 1 Rekindling, it's at 1, I think it's one of the most powerful cards in the game right now, other than Soul Charge. I like this better and worse in some ways than Soul Charge. Soul Charge is great because it can summon back your 4s and chickens too. This is great because you can OTK with it. I was in favor of banning this card. Like, the regionals I topped, I basically used a deck. It's very similar to this. It's this deck, slightly different build, slightly different variation. Played 3 Rekindling. Rekindling was stupid. The amount of times where my opponent would have me beat and I'd just top deck Rekindling and win was stupid. I think this card should be banned, but it's at 1, so I'm gonna play it at 1. And then 3 Soul Charge. This card's retarded. There were times where I would open brick hands with this, but I definitely felt 3 was the right number. It's just so good in this deck. And Book of Moon, it's like a trap dash a lance in 1, plus it's unaffected by decree, and you can trigger it from hand. So I do feel this is a really good card. And to wrap up spells, I played 3 Upstart Goblins, just to get to the combos faster. I only played Upstart, I did not play Reckless, mainly because I really want to get the combo out first turn, and I felt Reckless is just a dead card turn 1, and I'd much rather not have it. I'd rather have a different trap or a different combo piece than Reckless. But I did feel Upstart was necessary. 19 spells in total. It was very spell heavy. A lot of the brick hands I got, it just opened all spells, but I felt it worked fairly well. Traps, 1 Compulse, 1 Bottomless, 1 Torrential, 1 Warning. These are the big 4. I don't know how I feel about some of these. In a deck that plays 3 Soul Charge, I'm not sure how I feel about Warning, but Warning wins a lot of games. Torrential's a really good trap. It's probably the best out of all of these, because it's also good, like, if you draw it into an established board and your opponent summons again, you can just take their whole field out. Bottomless is another really good card, but this and Warning are terrible top decks. Meanwhile, these 2 are much better top decks, so I feel these are probably the 2 stronger ones. Yeah. Big 4. I still play them in pretty much everything. 2 Breakthrough. Effect Negation. This card put in a lot of work, because people kept bringing that Ragna Zero on me, and it's like, okay, well, I'll summon, and then you'll try and stop it, and I'll just banish this from grave. Like, in my match versus Pat Guilfoyle, I think he brought out Ragna Zero, and I was playing kind of scared of playing into that, and I just realized, wait a minute, I have Breakthrough skill in grave, I can just go off. Yeah, this card puts in lots of work. 2 Blackhorn. Gigant is really a pain to get rid of. Like, yes, we have Compulse, Bottomless, and Torrential to deal with Gear Gigant. However, the problem with all of these is they're all going to bring back a Gear Giano, and that's just one more card to make the next Gigant. So Blackhorn really helps get rid of that. It's also an out to Exciton, which is dangerous, and a lot of other dangerous cards. And to round out the deck at 40 cards, I played 2 Vandy's Emptiness. This was an iffy card today. It works, not today, yesterday. It put in work versus some situations. I would usually side out in the Geargia matchup just because it doesn't do anything there. I actually had a game 1 versus a Geargia player where I drew it, and I'm like, oh great, I know he's playing Geargia because I had seen him around before in the Winamat. And I'm just like, great, I opened Vandy's. This sucks. So I'm just like, okay, set Vandy's, might as well. And then actually stopped an Arsenal from bringing down armor, which was really cool. That's the one time I ever did anything versus Geargia. Otherwise, I would never play this card against Geargia. He also put in some work versus Infernities, and the Gishki game I played, this card just ended game 3. I'm just like, okay, so you're gonna activate Aquamir, that's cool, Vandy's. And he just had no output to it for the rest of the game, and it won me the Winamat. Well, it won me round 2 of the Winamat. So, I do feel this card's good. You can also basically turn it off at any time with Bear and Gorilla, or Chicken, or even Leopard. So I do feel it's really strong in this deck. And that's the main deck. It's 40 cards, 37, but yeah. I felt like it was pretty strong. I don't know. I wasn't able to test it super thoroughly because, as I said, I literally chose it Friday when my plane landed. And I just went with it. I talked to a friend for a little about some theories about it, and that was the build I concluded was best. Extra deck. 2 Horse Prints. These guys put in work. They're just like, okay, some chicken plus. I was able to bring out 2 in a lot of games because Rekindling, Soul Charge, Lion Emperor. Just puts in a lot of work. 1 Vulcan, just general removal power. Gets rid of a lot of problem cards. You have a Draco Sec, that's nice. Get the fuck out. Yeah. I think I brought him out once or twice today. He's a good card. Those are all the 6s I played. I cut Sirius for my last build of this, because I felt like without the 3 Rekindling, you don't need the extension plays as much, and Sirius just doesn't put in as much work. So I just decided, you know, Vulcan's good enough, and went with that. For the rank 4s, I played 1 Tiger King. I'm a very strong advocate for 1 Tiger King over 2 or 3. I feel like I've never needed 2 Tiger King, ever. I think there was one time ever I felt the need for 2 Tiger King, and I realized, wait a minute, there's better options I can do here. So I do believe 1 Tiger King is the right number. Last minute decision on my part, I played 2 Cardinal. This was a weird call to maybe do, but I feel like this card puts in a lot of work in the Lightsworn matchup. Just getting your Lightsworns back into the deck, putting your Eclipse back into the deck, and keeping the JDs banished permanently is really clutch. And I felt like 2 of this was just better than 2 Rhapsody and Berserk. So I went with this, because this has a bigger defensive body than Rhapsody does. And a lot of the time, you won't have another Xyz monster to use him with unless you Soul Charge. So I felt Cardinal was really good. People were saying like, oh well, Wolfbark can go into Rhapsody. Yeah, that's true, but Wolfbark plus Tensu goes into Cardinal, and I almost always have a Tensu out. So I did feel 2 was a good number. Yeah. 1 Kagetsuchi. This card puts in a lot of work. It basically forces your opponent to 101 it, because they don't want to waste 3 grease. They don't want to waste resources killing a 2500 plus speeder 3 times, because that's just a pain in the ass. It forces them to like waste a breakthrough, 101. It also loads up the grave for Soul Charge and Rekindle it, and that was a really clutch. So I really liked this guy today. He was good. Other rank 4s, 1 Diamond Dyer. Diamond Dyer is really strong in this deck because you can bring it out with 2 4s. Like, say you have a chicken you can go like chicken swap Gyoko back row, wolf bark this guy out, and then diamond dagger the chicken away in another back row, and that's just really strong. One best card ever, number 82. This card's especially good in this deck. Like, Tenki, Tensu, Gyoko, that's nice. You can't attack, and I'm just gonna deal 4,003 damage to you, and just sit on this guy until I need to make a different push. It's kind of ridiculous, and I really like him as a card. Dweller didn't actually face any water today. Didn't face any dragon. Not today. Why do I keep saying today? Didn't face any dragon rulers. Didn't really face any matchups where he was good in. But I would never cut him from the extra deck. That's a very bad idea. 1 rank to 0. Looking back on today, this should have been Cowboy. Not today. Oh my god. Maybe not a Cowboy per se, but definitely could have been something better. I made this guy versus Dolces, but then I realized how easy he was for them to play around, just summon everything in defense, and he can't touch them. And that was just a pain for me to deal with, and I did not enjoy that. So I'll probably cut him in the future, because Fire Fists aren't super relevant right now. Exciton, made him a couple times. I think I made him like once, actually. He is, like, good in some situations. He's just good to have the option to go into. Also, if you make him, like, once versus someone, it scares them. And then 1/101. I'd consider playing 2 of him, maybe the second over Ragna 0. I only own 1, though, so that's cool. I guess he's just really good. A lot of people have been having the debate, what's better, Exciton or 101? Yeah, that's like asking what's better, having a, like, bed or having... No, that's a bad example. That's like saying what's better, having a chair or having a table. Like, they serve very different purposes. It's not a strict comparison. Honor Arc is like 1-for-1 removal to get rid of problem cards. Exciton is to punish people for overextending. They are two very different cards, and should not be compared on a 1-to-1 ratio. And that is all the 4s I played. Extra deck space is really tight in this deck, and in the end I decided to cut Cowboy, just because I feel he put in the least work of any of them. So, that left me with 2 spots. I played Lion Emperor and Alucard. I feel like these were the 2 best 3s for this deck. My friend was saying, oh, you should have played Engineer. Yeah, but I don't really feel the need for that kind of protection. Like, normally, if I'm just gonna make a 3 and pass, I'll make Lion Emperor to recycle something. I'd rather not use the protection and not generate any advantage. So these I felt were the 2 best 3s. 15 card extra. If you're playing less than 15 cards, stop. And now for the side deck. 2 Maxi. Put in a lot of work. It helped versus Infernity is helped versus Lightsworn somewhat. I actually used him to make a push for game against Lightsworns. They had like 4,800 left. No, they had like, I think they have 5,300 left. So I'm like, okay, Horse Prince, summon that. I think the Horse Prince was breakthrough. Summon Bayer with Tensu, regular normal, summon Maxi, attack for game. That was funny. I don't actually like this guy so much versus Lightsworns if you're not also signing Swift Scarecrow, because a lot of the time they're just going to summon through the Maxi and then OTK you, and it just doesn't do anything helpful there, and I'd rather have a better card. This guy is really mad versus Girgias right now due to the fact that they can just stop. Like, Girgia Arsenal, Tribute. That's fine. Maxi, like, okay, just set armor. Flip armor, add accelerator. Maxi, that's nice. Flip armor and back face down, pass. Like, I feel this card really is not great versus Girgias, but it really helps in the water matchup, the dragon matchup, the Infernity matchup. There was a game versus Infernities where I really wish that I had drawn this guy, but I hadn't drawn into him yet, because my opponent hard drew into a top decked Archfiend and proceeded to OTK. That game I also drew no traps, so it was kind of weird. But, yeah, I do feel like 2-Maxi is good. 2DD Crow. This card put in a lot of work versus Lightsworns and Infernities. Like, a lot of work. And, yeah, I definitely feel 2 is a good number. Cycle Reader, this card puts in work versus Lightsworns. It helps so much. If you, on the off chance you face Boojins, it also is just like, you lose. Artifacts, when they destroy something, no. This card puts in a lot of work in the meta, and I just would definitely play it. 5 monsters in the side, all hand traps. I don't want to add too many more normal summons into this deck, so I felt hand traps were good. Spells, 3 MST. I felt this was a good side card over in the main, due to the fact that, like, Lightsworns are probably going to be the most played deck at this event, and this card does nothing versus them. Hat is going to be another very played deck. This card really is terrible versus Hat, unless you know where their set stuff is. It's really mediocre versus Girgia, because you basically have to blind space it, and like, okay, hit a Girgia gear, you lose. So I decided this was best in the side deck to bring in Game 2 in almost every matchup. And then 1 Soul Release. Sided this versus Lightsworns. Sided it versus Spellbooks. Just get all the Spellbooks out of grave. No Fate for you. No Tower for you. No. I think I also might have sided... I sided this in my game versus Pat Guilfoyle, Game 3, because he drew Rekindling every game, and I'm just like, no, I want that to stop. I'm bringing in Soul Release. That was a terrible choice mathematically, but it was a fun game, and he drew Rekindling that game anyway. So, yeah, Soul Release is a good card. I may bump it up to 2 in the future to help me draw it more, but I felt it's fine for now. That's 4 spells. And now traps. 2 Light Imprisoning Mirror. Floodgates are terrible, to be honest. But this card just puts in so much work in today's meta that I kind of felt to disregard that fact about Floodgates and put it in anyway. Basically won me a game versus Lightsworn, and that was nice. 2 Trap Stun. Basically, stop all your plays. Make sure my play goes through. Then win. It's really good versus trap heavy decks. It's also good versus like Girgias, because you can just stop the Girgia gear with this, and it helped a lot. 1 Malcat. This is really good in the Hat matchup, and in the Infernity matchup actually, because they'll be attacking, and if you nuke all their artifacts in the Hat matchup on their turn, they're not going to do anything. And Infernities basically set their whole hand before they attack anyway, because they need to make their push, and you can just kill it before it can be activated. So Malcats are a very strong card. And then the last card was Transmigration Prophecy. I hope this card's really good. Like, it helps in a lot of matchups. Lightsworns works as Cardinal. It can also add back my Tankies or something if need be. And I just felt this is a very strong card. I've main decked it in the past. Decide on side deck for this event. So, I'll go over my rounds quickly. Round 1, I faced Girgia. This deck has an awesome Girgia matchup, just because Bear deals with armor. Round 2, Lightsworns, 2-1. I 2-0'd the Girgia player, and that was cool. Round 3, I faced Infernities. I won game 1. He hard drew into a top deck Arch in game 2, and I drew no traps and OTK'd. Game 3, I won again. So I'm 3-0 at this point. Round 4, I faced Prophecy. This deck has a terrible matchup versus Prophecy, just saying, like, what they need to do is Fate the Leopard whenever it comes out, and they win. I just can't do anything then. And the guy also drew Blue Boy 3 straight turns. And that was ridiculous. Like, the guy even said, like, dude, I'm so sorry. I just drew another Blue Boy. And I lost. I actually got OTK'd by Spellbooks. Yeah. Round 5, I faced Madolches. The way he was playing Madolches was actually a way that I think Madolches should play. He was playing the hands, which I feel add a lot to Madolches because they give you a play without requiring your normal summon. And he was playing Devil Summons, which I definitely feel is the right thing to do in Madolches. Game 3, I should have won, but like 30 plus cards in his deck, he top decks his 3rd Angeli and wins. It's like, okay, Yu-Gi-Oh! That happened. Round 6, I'm facing Kawaki Mirus. I have no idea what to do versus this deck. And he's basically just like Urnite. Urnite, I think, is just a really dumb card. It's like, okay, so I have this 2000 beater here that can just summon stuff from the deck for literally no cost. Cool. I've seen a couple really cool builds of Kawaki Mirus. There's the Beast Warrior version alone, which is basically just Crusader, Urnite, and Fire Fist win. I've seen Rock Stun, which is cool. I also saw this really funny build of Kawaki Mirus at some point, which was basically just have an Urnite sitting there, and every turn summon out a rock monster with it. And I'm just like, oh, that's actually really cool. So, that's Kawaki Mirus. And I bricked really hard game 2. I drew 2 MSTs, Trap Stun, Soul Charge, and 2 other cards. And it's just like, oh well, I lose. GG. Not really, but okay. And that was that. I then entered in a Winamat. Round 1 faced Girgia. 2-1 Tim. Round 2 faced Gishki. Mount of the Bound Creator Gishki is a really interesting deck. The one problem I really have with the deck is it's such a pain to side with. Like, a lot of stuff is just really important to your combos. But I do feel Gishki is a strong deck right now. They just got Beautiful Tuna or something, which, funny story, you can't Veiler it, just because of how the card is worded. It's unveilerable. So that's a good card. Then, Mound of the Bound Creator just stops you from dealing with Zeal Gigas, period. And that's just a pain. But in the end, I managed to win that one. And then round 3, I faced another Girgia. I just don't lose to Girgia with this deck. I feel it has a really strong Girgia matchup. And I wound up winning the Winamat. I got a cool mat. I like it better than the other mats I've won in the past. I believe it's Shark's Sister and Ragna Zero. I definitely like this better than the other mats I've won in the past from various things. Like, this isn't really a mat that you win, you just get by qualifying, but it's terrible. This is a nice mat, and I like it better than my Gravekeeper mat, to be honest. But, yeah, that's my Nationals recap / deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry this video is kind of long. I know half an hour can be kind of long for a deck profile. But, thank you for watching if you stayed this long. Peace out, guys. Fallen Psycho A2, signing